Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be bringing you along to one of our standard Muay Thai classes on a Saturday at Glen Waverley. This class goes for an hour and a half instead of the typical 1 hour. It's usually split up between beginners and intermediate and advanced. You'll have to excuse me, I've recently picked up a bit of a cold and I've actually lost my voice, so we're dealing with raspy man sounding Rachel at the moment. I didn't record the warm-up because it is pretty standard. Generally, we'll do three 3-minute rounds of skipping. In between each round, we'll do 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, and the last one, 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, 10 burpees, or 10 squats. But that is a pretty stock standard warm-up for most Muay Thai gyms. Sometimes if coach is feeling a bit creative, we'll either do running with variations of skipping, 2 in, 2 out, running backwards, butt kicks, high knees, that sort of thing. But generally, skipping is probably the most standard for a warm-up. For this class, we split up into pairs, with one person usually with the Thai pads and belly shield and the other person with gloves, and we will drill a particular combo. So this week we were focusing on elbows. If it's a bit more complex, the beginners will usually have a more simple combo to drill and advanced would have a more complex combo to drill. I usually like to go first with the pads because I feel like if I expend all of my energy, I've got a little bit more time to recuperate before we get into sparring at the end of the class. And you can see I've got my jumper on, so it was a particularly cold morning that morning, but it didn't take me too long to warm up. Once everyone's all ready to go, coach just jumps into the middle of the room. We'll either do the drill himself or pick 2 people out to do the drill to demonstrate for everybody. I'll actually just show the footage of when he's explaining the drill after we swap partners because there's a couple of people in the way and you can't really see it properly here, so I'll put that in right now.
We do right, okay? You stand whatever you stand, but you always have to start with the same angle, right elbow, and do gentle. Don't need to be impact because I want to go to the target, okay? Don't need to impact. I don't want to feel like impact too much. I want to wait in just little impact, okay? Yeah, feel easy, yeah? Just get ready. Try the muscle. I feel like a weight transfer. Shot. Go with them. It makes sense with the left. You have to be sure. You step on foot. Yeah, you can like feel like a change the position, but easier to be don't do step to be orthodox. Yeah, easy. Look, they don't step you right. You ready, right? Shot. Just stay in left. Shot. Up. Shot. Reset the position. Come back and go. This is a beginner. Does that make sense? Right? Yep. Shot. Hey, I come back. Go. Yeah. Up. Shot. Yep. Shot. One more time. One. Turn the pad angle a bit. Yep. Shot. Turn the pad. Shot. Up. Shot. Reset position. Beginner. Left hand. Right, left, right. Up. Shot. Hey. Shot. Up. Shot. Hold. Turn. You have to teamwork with the partner. You have to know how to go. Pull, pull, yeah. Shot.
After explaining the combos, he usually gives us around anywhere between 2 to 5 to 6 minutes to actually just drill that one particular combo set. Beginners are generally further away, closer to the entrance, whereas where we're standing is where intermediate and advanced tend to train. You'll notice as well that there's actually a couple of guys doing extra movements in between the drill. We'll have people going for interclubs and amateur fights, so they're generally being pushed a little bit harder. You'll notice that there's actually 2 different types of Thai pads that are being used. So we're using the white Thai pads, whereas the guys next to us are using the black Thai pads. I personally prefer using the black ones when I'm holding them because they are shorter and lighter and it doesn't feel like your shoulders are burning out. Whereas the white ones are a little bit more sturdier and a lot heavier. So when you're holding them up for a long period of time, especially if you've got someone taller than you, your shoulders are definitely getting a workout. After the round of drilling that combo, we'll generally finish off with some sort of speed punches, speed kicking, anything that's kind of related to the drill that we just did. So with this one, we're just doing continuous cross elbows. Whereas the guys that are preparing for a fight, they're basically just doing speed kicking. And this is the fun part, and generally we just go straight into freestyle, which means that pad holder is basically getting you to throw anything.
And I will let you know why I have to tell you sometimes 3 minutes. You know I will cut the fighter for 20 minutes one round. Okay, 3 minutes freestyle, let's go!
When I first started Muay Thai, I found this quite difficult because I felt like I always had to have some sort of combo fresh in my mind, which you kind of do. It does feel better if it's a combo that flows well. But now we've kind of progressed, especially with Lang and I when we're paired up. We don't have to say what it is for the person to throw. So it's very rare where Lang and I will actually yell out like jab, cross, anything like that. The only thing we'll usually yell out is whether or not it's going to be an elbow or to catch the kick or to lean back for a high kick, that sort of thing. I think what we've also tried to add in as well is clinching, either Lang putting the pressure on me and responding with clinch and how I'm going to get out of there, because clinching is just one of those things that you have to really practice because it's not a huge focus in a lot of class sessions. I think it's good recording yourself in situations like this as well, because generally I feel like I've improved a lot with my technique, but there's still things that I lack. Like my left hand drops a lot, which is something that I need to remind myself anytime I'm sparring. Also, I do find that my straight punches, I'm kind of just hitting the pads but not punching through the pads, if that makes sense. Whereas if you look at the guys that are preparing for fights coming up, the technique is just totally different, more dynamic, more explosive. But I'm not comparing myself to others. It's just good to see other people's technique and either adopt it if it's something that you think you should work on, or avoid completely because it's not something that you should work on. I think the longest freestyle that I've ever had to do was maybe 6 minutes. And a coach said at the start of the freestyle session that he's sometimes done 20 minutes freestyle with his fighters that are preparing for a fight. So that's just crazy. Once the round is over, we're just finishing this one off with just straight speed punches. Changing to uppercuts, then 10 speed kicks each side. whilst we get a lovely little break, the guys that are preparing for a fight get to do 50 kicks on their chosen side. So yeah, cardio is a huge component of Muay Thai for sure. Next up, it was Lang's turn. Once again, we were just focusing on the drill and working on improving that technique throughout those few minutes. Then we went into freestyle. Now a little tip for you couples out there, because Lang has a lot of power. You can do some damage. So for the guys, if your girl is holding the pads for you, a little tip is to not send it, but instead you can focus on being quick but controlled. So less power, more speed. Because if Lang was to kick or teep or anything like that full power, it would just blow me away. So yeah, it's definitely good to match your partner's appropriate level. Another thing with these classes is sometimes it's quite crowded, so you do kind of have to watch where you're going. Sometimes you step back into people, but everyone's usually pretty chill. No one gets mad because it's just a common occurrence. I really enjoy drilling the counters in the freestyle. So here you can see Lang doing just jab cross, and then I'm going to pretend to throw a roundhouse kick, and he teeps me as I'm about to throw as a counter. And you can see Coach Me walking around watching everyone's technique, and he just kind of jumps in and provides advice where necessary. And you'll also sometimes hear you just kind of hyping you up, especially during sparring. really important to throw kicks and teeps and punches just so your partner can get used to blocking, countering, angling off, leaning back. It just changes the dynamics of the freestyle pad work a little bit more and emulates sparring, so they're not constantly on the offensive. As you can see, my shoulders are absolutely cooked, so I'm not holding the pads as high. I'm having to drop them every time we finish. Once we've cleaned up the pads, we now just put all of our gear on, which is shin pads, mouth guard, and sparring gloves. Before we get into sparring, we usually do some sort of drill as well. Today we're doing the drill focusing on catching a body kick and countering with either a hook or a cross, depending on which side the kick was thrown. You'll notice that Lang and I are both wearing different gloves for this and also for sparring. Generally for pad work, we'll wear our lighter gloves. So we've both got 10-ounce gloves for pad work. And then when it comes to sparring or anything that's going to be punching your opponent's face, you're just going to be using your heavier gloves, either 14 or 16 ounces, just so it's a little bit softer on your opponent's face if you do connect. I really like these twins gloves. Lang actually picked them up for me when he went to Thailand with his friend, and he did a private lesson, a 2-on-1 with one of the coaches in Thailand, and said it was awesome. I would love to go to Thailand and do it myself as well. So maybe that might be on the cards in the foreseeable future. I think with these drills, it's good to start slow, and then once you've got the movements right, then you can kind of speed it up, as that's what you're going to be doing in a proper fight. Because unfortunately, in a proper fight, even in an interclub, your opponent is not going to wait for you to remember your combos. So it's always really good to practice being reactive and thinking on the fly.
Freestyle, right? No elbow. If someone no elbow, they'll look after each other, right? If you take down above the S-band, protect, save your partner, don't sweep. If you sweep, you have to cut the leg. Another session, I will teach you how to sweep. Freestyle, let's go! Sparring time.
And now we go into the fun part, which is freestyle sparring. I think I've said this before in a previous video, but when it came to sparring, I just used to dread it. I hated sparring so much. I think that's because I was so bad when I started and a bit more afraid, especially going up against more experienced people. But as you get more experienced, that definitely changes. So now I actually look forward to sparring because you really get to practice what you've been learning and putting that into practice. And also you find that the advanced people are not the scary ones to spar. They're actually more helpful than not, because yes, you're being defeated a lot of the time, especially if they've got years of experience on you, but you're learning. And if they're a good sparring partner, they'll generally stop and point out things that you need to work on or give you some tips. That's why I always like to go up against someone that is a lot more experienced than I am, because I've always got something to learn. On the other hand, sparring with beginners, sometimes beginners will come in with haymakers and are a little bit more unpredictable, so it's always good to watch out for that as well. But if you do come across someone that's going a little bit hard, just tell them straight up to calm it down a little bit, and most people are pretty receptive of that as long as you're pretty clear with your communication. In advanced, you can actually practice your knees in sparring, which I've been hit with a couple of pretty nasty knees, especially to the liver. So it's good to practice as long as it's within your control. So Lang's got really good hands, and I'm always a bit afraid to step in. So I use a little bit more kicks to keep distance because I don't want to get hit with those hands. And usually with sparring, you'll see that we're pretty light, so it's more playing, still being fast, but controlling the power, trying to get your timing right with your counters, faking, just changing up the tempo to catch your opponent off guard. And you can see at this part here that Lang went for a teep, and instead of angling off or trying to catch, I blocked it with my leg, and his heel went straight into my quad, which caused a bit of a corky. And I actually felt this for the whole rest of the session. My next opponent is May, and she's been training Muay Thai for several years, so she always beats the shit out of me. But in saying that, she's nice enough to teach me new things and to tell me what I'm doing right and tell me what I need to work on. So it's always a really good learning experience. And Muay Thai, unlike BJJ, doesn't have different colored belts or grading systems, so it's a little bit more difficult to gauge where your level is at. But I think the best way to gauge that is through sparring, especially through sparring one particular person over and over again. Now you see in the background here, Brad did something that you're not supposed to do, but he sweeped his girlfriend and she landed pretty hard on the floor. I think we all heard that from a mile away. And this was a really good combo that May did. She faked the jab, came in with the cross to block my vision, threw a right body kick, which still didn't quite connect, but then my arm was down trying to catch that leg. And because she was still quite far away, I didn't get a proper grasp of that leg. So she came in with a right cross and that just landed nice and clean. Now this next guy that I'm sparring with, I call him Octopus Guy, which you'll probably soon see. He's also got years of experience, but puts a lot of pressure on because he's fast and unpredictable, which is really difficult to spar against. So even though he's not hitting me hard, he just does a lot of unorthodox moves, which always catches me off guard, and I find that he is really good at controlling the pace and throwing my pace off. can see that Lang is paired with May as well. Obviously practicing dropping someone's guard and going in for a head kick, which looks pretty sick to be honest. And the guys that are sparring behind Lang and May, unfortunately, it's one of those things where you get the balls. Just the wrong timing or stepping in, or it does unfortunately happen. And if you're a guy in Muay Thai, unfortunately it might happen to you as well, but it is a common occurrence. So just be careful. And you can see Coach Me jumping in, joining in on the fun. He loves playing with all of his students, so that's a good coach. And just like that, another round is over. My next partner is Ash, and it's good sparring with Ash because we're very similar in size. So I like being able to practice sweeps with her. She's also got quite a bit of experience and she's really good with sparring. I'm kind of apologizing and laughing here because I got her right in the boob. It's definitely not a equivalent to a ball kick, but I don't like doing them nonetheless. This guy that Lang is sparring, Andy, he does amateur fights. So you can see Lang and Andy going at a bit of a quicker pace and a little bit more intense as Andy was preparing for a fight himself as well. And just like that, the final round of sparring was done. Generally, what we'll do is finish off with some sort of ab conditioning with the last partner you were with. But this time we were doing the clap push-ups. So one push-up and then clap with your partner in front. I find doing push-ups in the gloves so much harder than normal push-ups. Definitely feels better on your wrists, but it's way harder. So my form is pretty terrible, but I've only just really sort of recently started doing full push-ups. But I'm really liking the lighting here. My arm looks pretty jacked. And then we just finished up with 20 sit-ups with our partner, locking legs so you're not flying everywhere. And just like that, the hour-and-a-half session was done. I really like going for that extra half an hour. I feel like you work a little bit harder, especially when it comes to sparring and having more rounds. And generally, to finish off the class, we all line up where we can all fit, I guess. Coach says a few words just about remembering a few things, and we put our hands together and say thank you in Thai, which is Ka, and we say thank you to everyone as we're walking out and off the mats. So that's what a typical Saturday session looks like at our Muay Thai gym. Let me know down in the comments below if your Muay Thai sessions look similar or if they're not, and just let me know how they're different, because I do know that they kind of vary between the gyms. But if you like this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.